time for the second race of the weekend for the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship here at Donington Park. We had a thoroughly entertaining race yesterday afternoon, after which there were lots of discussions had off track, but thankfully the on-track entertainment was exciting enough to keep us talking into the night as well. Luke Reed coming home with another race victory, but as really has been the story of his 2023 campaign so far, he's not winning by an awful lot. He's winning a lot of races, but never super comfortably, and Callum Davis was within a second of him by the flag after a late charge for the SVG Motorsport driver. Another lap or so, and he might have had a serious chance of claiming his first race victory of the season. Colin White came home in third, whilst in the GT5 class, Luke Garlick beat Sam Harvey to the victory after a couple of the other GT5 contenders, including championship leader Ella Lloyd, retired. Ella having had a spin from the class lead down at the old hairpin. Lots of young and old motorsport fans here in attendance at Donington Park, enjoying the mild weather, not quite as sunny as it was yesterday, but still a lovely day, and the crowd continuing to pour in to Donington Park as we get further into today's action. Andy McEwen here in the commentary box, Kai Bachin alongside me, and Kai, lots to talk about after that race yesterday. Another great win from Luke Reed, but I think Callum Davis really sort of sent a message to the Wolf Motorsport driver in the latter stages. Once he got into second place, Callum really looked rapid, and in clean air was arguably the quicker. He set the fastest lap in the end yesterday at 1:36.398. The question is, can he challenge Luke Reed today for the win?
It's definitely going to be a difficult one. I think that anything can happen here in the GT Championship. We've seen some amazing racing from all the drivers all the way through the field, and you can't quite put your finger on just one name that's going to walk away with the win today. It was such close, action-packed racing yesterday, and I think there's going to be a lot of drama on circuit today.
I think you're right. Luke Reed, 5 wins from 5 races so far this season, but like I say, that doesn't fully do it justice, really. He had that race at Alton Park that he only just won after a track limits penalty. I think it was either track limits or a jump start penalty, I forget which now. Then he had the win at Silverstone, where he had the little clash with, I think it was Callum, wasn't it, on the opening lap of that race. And then yesterday, like I said, Callum Davis really was charging after him. He scored 31 points from that race, did Callum, to move into second in the championship ahead of Brakel Racing's Carl Garnett. In third place in the championship. Garnett will be starting on the front row of the grid today, as he did, I believe, yesterday. The XMX5 racer Carl Garnett, the number 19, got a good start yesterday. We'll be hoping for more of the same. One driver we won't be seeing today, unfortunately, is Ruben Haig. Ruben Haig had some sort of drama yesterday before the race, had to start from the back of the grid, charged through quite nicely, provided much entertainment on the way, but he was disqualified from that race for a driving standards infringement, and we believe will be taking no further part in the weekend. So sadly, Ruben Haig not part of the grid, but we hope to see everybody else eventually released onto the track once bits of GT Academy car have been cleared from various points of the racetrack. They again had their fair share of incidents. Matt Shaw's car you can see being recovered from the pit lane at the moment, and that, I suspect, is the reason for the delay to the start of this race. Gives us a bit of time though to talk about the GT5 cars as well, because we have 2 championships in one here. You've got the GTP class, or GT Pro class, which is where you find the G56 GTP cars, and then your GT5 category for the Ginetta G40. So the same car that races in the Ginetta Junior Championship, but completely unrestricted. Junior cars have to be restricted in top speed because they're a junior car for teenagers, whereas the GT5 cars are the G40s running at full speed, and they always produce some good racing. Yesterday, though, Kai, Ella Lloyd, with really one of her first mistakes of the season. She's looked very good for the championship in the GT5 so far this year, but an error whilst comfortably in the lead at the old hairpin. Will that play on her mind today, do you think?
I think any mistake made by a driver when they feel like they could have finished in a higher up position, or feel they could have finished in a position that they should have deserved in another race, is definitely going to play on your mind. Some drivers, it will get them down, it will make them feel like they're not as capable in the next race. For some, it will just fuel them even more. It will make them feel like they need to make up for that mistake, and they need to do even better today.
Indeed so, and Ella will be starting from pole because it's the second fastest lap times from qualifying that set the grid, so she can move on, forget all about that first race of the weekend. On the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, a real driver's favourite. This being a brand new championship, of course it has never raced on the GP layout, but many of the drivers will have had some experience of the full GP circuit, which turns left at the end of the exhibition straight rather than right through the Fogarty S's down into Melbourne through Goddard's, which always provide lots of overtaking in side-by-side action. Matt Shaw's car is surely not going to complete another full lap of the circuit. No, it is going to be pulled off into the runoff area at Redgate. There's a gate there that takes you into the top end of the paddock, and from there the car will be taken down to the Ginetta end of the paddock and handed over to the team, and they've got a few hours to try and get that car fixed before the third and final race for the GT Academy later on. All of our Ginetta classes having a trio of races here at Donington before, at the end of this week coming, they head back to Silverstone for their second visit of the season to Silverstone at the new for 2023 Ginetta Festival, which sees 6 races over the course of 2 or 3 days. I think it's 2 races on the GP circuit, then 4 on the national, or it might be the other way around, but 6 races for all of the categories. So the GT Championship, GT Academy and the Juniors getting another opportunity to race at Silverstone in an event that is all about them. It's all about celebrating Ginetta, who have been a staple of the UK motorsport scene and motoring scene, but really mainly motorsport for many a decade, and still going strong now as they make their first full season appearance, at least for a couple of the championships, on the British GT package. We've seen lots of the GT5 challenge with the British GT package in the past, always been a favourite. Great to still have some of the G40s out with us this season, and the 21 car was one that was in trouble, I seem to recall, in yesterday's race. The race car consultants machine of Pablo Jequier, retired at the end of a few laps yesterday, but he's back out on the grid. The GT5 cars will line up behind the GT Pros, and they'll have hopefully another entertaining race. Let's see whether Ella Lloyd can avoid any problems, and if she can, whether anyone else is able to take the fight to her. So cars then will be led round by the safety car on their green flag lap, a chance for the drivers to try and generate some heat into the tyres. And Luke Reed, well, what do we think, Kai? Can he do this? He's already won every race so far this season. I do suspect that the likes of Callum Davis and Carl Garnett will give him a run for his money, but if he makes a good start, it's hard to look past him for claiming a 6th win of the year here. No,
not at all. The pace he's been putting down on every single circuit he's arrived to has been amazing. He just shows that he can adapt to every environment presented to him, especially at what was such a soggy and dreary Silverstone race meeting and race weekend. He just shows that he can adapt to the conditions as soon as they're thrown at him, and that's probably why he's one of the best drivers on the grid right now. Heading the championship, coming into this round, he was 37 points up, and that gap just extending from his race win yesterday. Yeah,
Luke Reed, former Ginetta class champion, but looking to try and claim the overall championship within the Ginetta GT campaign in 2023. The Wolf Motorsport car running with a new livery for this weekend, so it stands out even more from the crowd. And it will be starting from pole position. Wolf Motorsport alongside Brakel Racing, with Carl Garnett starting on the outside of row 1. Callum Davis, perhaps a challenger for the race win today, will start third. The start will be important for him. Connor Garlick for Zentech is next, whilst Colin White's privately run car starts in 5th position. Then it's Leona Theobald and Sean Fleming at the back of the GT Pro field. Then into the GT5s, who themselves are split between a Pro and an AM class. So Ella Lloyd and Luke Garlick both running within the Pro contingent. So too are Sam Harvey and Lexi Belk from row 2 of the grid, and Karim Sekat. Then Balsidou, with whom he tangled yesterday, the leading AM runner within the GT5s, and Pablo Jequier, the race car consultants driver, who actually looked a lot more competitive yesterday than we've seen from him in the past, but sadly retiring into the pit lane mid-race meant that we didn't get to see exactly what he could do. But I wonder whether he can take the fight to Balsidou today and perhaps claim a class victory within the GT5 championship. Well, Ella Lloyd's non-finish meant that Luke Garlick now extends his points advantage, and actually Sam Harvey, who had a big crash at Silverstone last time, moves into 2nd place. It's a Zentech Motorsport 1-2-3 in the GT5 Pro Championship. Balsidou has a 99-point cushion over Pablo Jequier within the AM class, because he's won every race so far this season has Bal Sidhu, so similar sort of story to Luke Reed, although Bal has had a bit less in the way of competition within that GT5 AM class in at least the early part of the season. Onboard cameras again to show you drivers weaving around here, Kai, to try and get some heat into those tyres. It's not a cold day, but the temperature that these tyres have to operate at means that even if it's 20 odd degrees outside, there's still work to be done on this green flag lap.
Yeah, 100% drivers will be trying to get as much temperature as possible to get onto those cars. Maybe if they even overheat the tyres just a little bit before the start of the race. Obviously, they want to do that because as soon as those cars go onto the grid and they're stationary waiting for everyone to line up behind them, obviously those tyres instantly start to cool down as soon as they're stationary on the surface. So a lot of ways that drivers can choose to warm up their tyres. It's all just down to personal preference of the driver and the driver obviously behind the cockpit.
So cars lining up then on the grid, the GT5s falling into line behind the G56s. Luke Reed on the left of the front row with Carl Garnett to his right. Keep an eye though to that blue and black number 95 car. Callum Davis starting from third. Red lights go on then. 20 minutes of racing underway now. And is it a good start made by Luke Reed? It's decent, but Carl Garnett going with him. Callum Davis actually isn't that rapid away, so Colin White gets up the inside of him for third position. Who will get the lead though? Garnett on the right, Reed on the left. The inside is always the place to be at Redgate Corner. And so Luke Reed retains the advantage. Colin White is through into third place, so Callum Davis not with an ideal start. Whilst in the GT5s, it's Sam Harvey in front. Sam Harvey's got the lead with Ella Lloyd busy trying to fend off Lexi Belk for second. Yeah,
Belk making a good charge there down the hill as they go down towards the old hairpin. She's going to have to go to the inside and go defensive. Just about staying in order right now. Looked a little bit out of shape coming down the hill. Just about keeping it under control right now as we look back to the G56s up in front. The 95 diving down the inside and a little bit of archie-barchie there between the two drivers. The 78 not going to be happy with that one as White will not walk away from that incident. Oh, and around he goes. He went off earlier. Oh, and catching the rear bumper there. A little bit of damage and a little bit of debris comes off the car. But the 78 of White, not the start you would hope for.
And it was Leona Theobald with whom he clashed there at Coppice Corner. So damage done to Leona's car. Right behind her is the side-by-side battle for the GT5 class lead. Sam Harvey defending here from Ella Lloyd as they head through the chicane. I wonder whether if Sam can stay in front for a couple of laps, once things sort of equalise out, he might just be able to give Ella a bit of a run for her money. Her trick this season really has been pulling a couple of seconds of an advantage by the end of lap one, and then no one can really go with her. But right now, Sam Harvey has that track position advantage, and as they head out to the Melbourne hairpin, he intends to keep it. Lexi Belk down into fourth in class now, actually. I think that's Luke Garlick who's found a way through into third. Yes, it is, and that might now become fifth maybe for Lexi Belk, because Karim Sekat there was squeaking up the inside into the Goddard's hairpin. Well, Leona Theobald hasn't pitted, interestingly, despite the deranged rear end on her car, so she will continue through at the end of lap one. Sam Harvey and Ella Lloyd do battle here for the class lead behind.
Yeah, as we're looking up right now, you can see Harvey and Lloyd still going at it. Ella Lloyd looking for any way past Harvey right now as they go down the hill and down towards the old hairpin. The smoke coming off Theobald in front is less than ideal, if anything. As we go down into the old hairpin, going defensive goes Harvey. Lloyd trying to look on the inside line. That's not going to work this time round. As we go down, it looks like Harvey's transponder not working. Saying he's in 13th position, but he definitely isn't. He's just in 7th position right now in front of Lloyd. Lloyd being in 8th. As we go back up the hill, these two drivers cutting back and forth, trying to fend each other off, trying to match the move. And as coming out the pit lane there, it looks like there's a safety car coming onto the circuit.
There is, because Colin White's car is stuck in the gravel up at Coppice Corner. So unfortunately, we're going to have a safety car appearance here in the early stages of this one. It's a shame, because that GT5 class battle was really starting to build up nicely, wasn't it? It's clear that Ella Lloyd is quicker, but just couldn't quite find a way past Sam Harvey. You can see her having to really slow down even midway through some of the corners to avoid running into the back of him, but Sam defending the lead well. So drivers weaving around once again as the safety car flags and boards are out, and hopefully this won't take too long to recover this car, the number 78, from a vulnerable position at Coppice. The first bit of contact there from Callum Davis knocks Colin White wide, but then up the inside into Coppice goes Leona Theobald, and well, it almost looked like Colin didn't know she was there, Kai.
It just looked like a bit of a desperate desperate defensive maneuver there from Colin White. He'd already been obviously put at a disadvantage after the contact that he'd already had coming up the hill, and it looked like he was just trying to regain and grab onto anything that he could have held on to. But Colin White, in the end, just putting him in the gravel trap, and you always want to at least finish the race, because a non-finish means you're getting 0 points.
As long as you finish, you're scoring something, aren't you?
Yep.
So, yeah, worth trying to keep going. But, of course, the car, well, perhaps was damaged anyway before the second contact with Leona Theobald, but that finished it off. It doesn't even look like it's particularly buried within that gravel trap, so I suspect that he just couldn't get the car fired up. Or maybe just didn't want to. Maybe he was that fed up with everything that had happened, he decided to call it a day. So the safety car out then, and Luke Reed leading the field around. Because we haven't had a full flying lap yet, it is technically Sean Fleming who holds the fastest lap, but that will almost certainly be beaten once the race resumes. Reed then from Garnett from Davis, Conor Garlick in 4th, Sean Fleming 5th, then Leona Theobald still limping around in 6th position ahead of Sam Harvey, who leads in the GT5s, Ella Lloyd 2nd, Luke Garlick 3rd, Lexi Belt 4th, and Karim Sekat 5th. Pablo Jequier, by the way, moved ahead of Balsidou just before the safety car to claim the AM class lead within the GT5, so not quite sure what happened to Balsidou. He was very slow on the previous lap. Pablo Jequier, after his non-finish yesterday, well, his weekend now perhaps turning around a bit.
Yeah, and as the marshals now start to clear the car there of Colin White, he'll just be pulled out of the gravel trap. You could see him sitting in the car in what would not be the best of moods, not in the highest of spirits, having to maneuver that car out of the gravel trap. It looks like we may have one more lap under the safety car before we get going again, because it did not look like it's going to take long for that car to get recovered.
Yeah, we'll need one more lap, won't we, I think. So that's a shame. It's going to take us down towards the halfway mark of the race, but Luke Reed won't mind particularly. He's not having to defend from anybody whilst behind the safety car. Carl Garnett was sort of sticking with him there before the yellow flags flew. And significantly, really, for Luke Reed, Callum Davis did not get past Garnett at the start. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, the lights are off on the safety car, so a late call there, and we like to see it because it means we don't have to sit behind the safety car for another lap, and we can get an extra lap or so of racing in. But yeah, not saying Garnett isn't quick, but I suspect maybe Callum Davis fractionally the quicker of the two, certainly based on yesterday's race, and therefore the fact that there is a car between Luke Reed and Callum Davis is good news as far as the race leader is concerned. Let's see, though, Carl Garnett may prove me wrong and really take the fight to the points leader upon the resumption of racing, which happens, or will happen, imminently. Out of Goddard's they come. No overtaking before the timing line, of course, but once they get down to Redgate Corner, it is on. I don't think Garnett's going to be close enough to Reed to have a go, though. Great restart there from the race leader, and Luke Reed with a 0.6 of a second cushion already as they cross the line will lead comfortably into Redgate. Leona Theobald nipping up the inside of Sean Fleming. Well, damage or not, Leona still getting stuck in, and I think she might get 5th place away here on the exit of the corner. Yes, she does. Behind them, by the way, Sam Harvey continuing to lead in the GT5s, but Ella Lloyd and Luke Garlick right on his tail as they head for the old hairpin.
Oh, you can see locking up under braking there. That's where the damage really shows there on Theobald. It can actually be very dangerous to the drivers in behind as it may distract them under the braking zone. But we're looking at the GT5s here as they're now all scrapping for position. Ella Lloyd might even lose out on a position here if she's not careful, as Luke Garlick's getting involved in this battle as well as we go up the hill and into the top bend. The 71 gets the inside line, just trying to follow through. Ella Lloyd's going to hold it though on the outside as she's still battling for position if possible. The 70 out in front though, just pulling away right now is Harvey. Ella Lloyd's going to have to slot in for 3rd in class, not the position that she wants to be into.
Massively frustrating because, as I say, she's clearly quicker than Sam Harvey, but Sam is under no obligation to move aside. He's doing absolutely the right thing, positioning the car well. Ella isn't committing to a move, and it ended up costing her there. So Luke Garlick through into 2nd place, and Ella Lloyd now with even more work to do if she wants to try and claim another class victory. Overall, race leaders then making their way towards Goddard. Here comes the GT5 battling up the inside, goes Garlick into the Melbourne hairpin. Harvey is late on the brakes. He is too late on the brakes, drifts way wide. Both of them go through. Garlick to the lead, Lloyd to 2nd, and Ella now up alongside Luke Garlick. They're weaving into each other, bang up the hill. Inside line held by Luke Garlick into Goddard's. Surely Ella can't go right there on the outside. Sam Harvey sticks his nose back in the gap. Contact again on the corner exit. This is great stuff.
Ella Lloyd desperately fighting for position as we're looking to the lead of the race right now.
Damage. Damage on the back of Callum Davis' car. This is for second place. He's had contact, I suspect, with Carl Garnett. Either that or something's failed. Lloyd on the inside of Garlick for the lead in the GT5, but Luke Garlick back up the inside. You don't know where to look, Kai.
No, not at all. The battle in both classes right now is amazing. The G56s are going at it as well as the GT5s. Ella Lloyd back on the inside. She's going to try it. There's no gap there, and it's instantly shut in her face there. Back down the inside. Here goes Harvey. He's going to fight it as well. Take out a Ballard in doing so as well. Ella Lloyd just about managing to continue and carry as much speed as possible as she manages to maintain second in class right now. But that battling between those two drivers means that Luke Garlick is able to pull a little bit of cushion, a little bit of breathing room. He's able to relax a little bit now and focus on pulling away and trying to drive off into the distance.
Fantastic stuff, this. And Luke Garlick well up for the fight, as is Sam Harvey. These two really now trying to disrupt Ella Lloyd's race. They know that she has got the ultimate pace, but if they can keep her battling, if they can keep her out of that clean air, they've got a chance of beating her maybe. It is Luke Garlick then who leads the GT5 class, heading through the Fogarty S's for the 5th time. We have got just over half the race to go, and Ella Lloyd goes way off and into the gravel trap. She's off again into the barriers, and that is Ella Lloyd's day done. Surely the car spins around, makes secondary contact with the wall, and while she will carry on, there is damage to the rear wing, possibly rear suspension damage as well, and that was a mistake, I think, out of frustration as much as anything.
Yeah, Lloyd just pushing a little bit too hard there and manages to find herself going off into the gravel trap. And even if that, yeah, that looks like major suspension damage there for Ella Lloyd as her car is bouncing through the corner. Even not, that's a lot of aerodynamical advantage as the rear wing is very slanted. I'm sure that'll be a very quick and not so pleased trip to the pit lane there for Lloyd, as she was battling very hard and maybe even out of desperation for that second position in class, as she will pull off into the pit lane. Here's a little bit of a replay here. Lloyd just pushing it way too hard into the corner, overcooks it straight over the second part of the S's and loses the rear end. Tries to keep it under control in the gravel, but nothing she could do.
Yeah, just too much speed in, goes right. Look at the size of those sausage curves. The car launches into the air, and then as it lands a bit awkwardly, possibly even did a bit of down. Oh, it has, look, it's flattened the left front tyre, so she's got a left front puncture from hitting the curb. That's why the car wouldn't steer into the right-hander. I thought it looked a bit odd, the way that the car just sort of lazily veered off the track, and it's because she'd lost a left front tyre already over the curbs. From there, she was a passenger into the wreck-to-cell barriers. They at least limit the damage done. Photographers take cover as the car came at them, spreading gravel through the air, and well, unfortunately, lots of damage done to the left-hand side of Ella Lloyd's car, and it will be her second retirement of the weekend, and that is a big hit now for her championship aspirations. Callum Davis in as well. Now, I don't think we ever got to the bottom of what happened to Callum. Left rear corner damage to the car of some description. Where it came from, we're not too sure. Conor Garlick, meanwhile, has moved ahead of Carl Carney for second. So Conor Garlick into second. Luke Garlick leading the GT5s. A good day for the Garlick so far.
Yeah, Callum Garlick doing a great job out in front right now. Conor Garlick just about holding on to that second position, but Reed out in front. It's a repeat of what we've seen time and time again. 2.1 seconds is the gap he's been able to pull over the rest of the field right now. Number 26 putting out a masterclass of a drive so far, but do remember there's just under half the race still remaining, so still plenty of time here. Looked a little bit too slow on the apex there, did number 63, as Conor Garlick looking to lose a bit of time there to Garnett, as Carl Garnett trying to gain as much time as possible as second position, obviously gaining a lot more points than you would in third for the championship bid.
Down the exhibition straight they will head again. Black and white warning. Oh, that's Sam Harvey, the leader of the GT5s, off at the old hairpin and off at a very odd angle going into the corner as well. I just was about to mention that as they came past our commentary position, Sam Harvey and Luke Garlick, oh, they're both off. They're both off at the old hairpin, so they must have tangled coming down the hill. Luke Garlick will get going at least because he's only on the grass as opposed to the gravel, but I think that puts Karim Sekat into the lead now, the GT5 portion of the race, out of absolutely nowhere. So Luke Garlick continues. He'll be feeling the car out for damage. Sam Harvey's car isn't going to be pushed out of that gravel trap, is it? The marshals are surely going to have to call for recovery. Ella Lloyd in the pit lane. It's the race that no one wants to win in the GT5s. Lloyd back into the fray though, Kai. That could be significant.
Yeah, but she will be a lap down when regaining control onto the circuit. circuit. So being a lap down just means that she's fully out of contention of the race. She may be able to race on the circuit with the rest of the cars, but she will be a lap down on everybody else around her, which is such a shame to hear. At least she's able to get back down on the circuit, though.
And she'll still score some points. So here was the move from Harvey up the inside. Oh, he loses it on his own. And then Luke Garlick must just go off laughing, maybe, coming out of the corner, because he, at that point, had the win in the bag. Once Harvey had lost control, Luke Garlick was never going to be challenged, and yet moments later, he was pointing the wrong way too. So a very bizarre moment down at the old hairpin. Sam Harvey and Luke Garlick both sort of self-sabotage their own races, really, and hand the class lead to Karim Sekat. Off now goes Luke Garlick coming out of the right-hander at Coppers. Remember, he's already being warned about track limits. He can't be doing that too often.
Yeah, Garlick, we've seen struggling for pace to try and keep up with Carl Ginetta, has been chipping away at the gap, and even chipping away at the track limits as well. He's been cutting down the gap that he had to Garlick in front. Maybe Garlick just trying to push a little bit too hard to extend that lead. The number 19 is breathing down his neck into the breathing zone, the braking zone. As you can definitely see that Conor Garlick is definitely feeling the pressure this time round.
It's a job to catch your breath in this race, isn't it, really? It has been manic from start to finish, as it was yesterday. There is Karim Sekat. He leads the GT5 part of the race by 4.7 seconds at the moment, and was 1.3 quicker than Lexi Belk on the previous lap, so that gap is going up. Lexi Belk is then 2.5 seconds or so ahead of Pablo Jequier, who leads in the AMP class, because Balsidou, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to go with him this time. Through comes the fight for second now within the GT Pro element of the race, and well, Conor Garlick feeling the pressure of that, there's no doubt. We're seeing a couple of little mistakes creeping in, but so far nothing big enough to hand the position to Garnet. Whilst in the GT5s, Pablo Jequier there leading the class and still battling away with Lexi Belk. That will be for second overall.
Yeah, a good battle going on all the way through the field. We're looking back up to the front end. This is Garnet and Garlick still going at it. That's the number 63 and the 19 still battling for position. This is for second place on track for the GT Pro category. Obviously the fastest cars on the circuit in this category right now. We go down the back straight, we go down towards the S's. This is where we see Garnet gain the most time out of Garlick. He just seems to be able to commit a lot more to the corner than Conor Garlick in second position right now. You can see visibly just the amount of room that he takes out just in that first section of the corner.
And I suspect that's because Garlick knows he's on his last warning for track limits, can't afford to be cutting the corner. Pablo Jequier, meanwhile, at the inside here of Lexi Belk, claims second place now overall within the class, but they're both being caught by Luke Garlick, who might still win this race because he's only about 7 seconds or so behind Karim Sekat, and he's capable of lapping about 4 or 5 seconds a lap quicker than him if he can clear Jequier and Belk quickly. Meanwhile, Carl Garnet up the inside now of Conor Garlick, while on the inside exiting Goddard. That becomes the outside for Redgate corner. The battle for second continuing to rage on.
Carl Garnet will go down the inside into Redgate. It's gonna be close, but they give each other enough room. Good racing there between the two of them. Conor Garlick's gonna have to give it up as they're still battling out on the circuit. And where has Luke Garlick came from in this battle? From a spin out earlier, he's back in contention, but we go back to the GT Pro category as we're still fighting through, and it looks like just about after such a long time, Carl Garnet has managed to make his way through. Conor Garlick's not going to give it up easily though as they go back up the hill. A little bit of rubbing door to door between these two drivers, but just about giving each other enough room to stay on the circuit, and right around the outside just about holds it, does Carl Garnet.
On the dirty side of the road as well. How he found the grip to do that, I don't know, but he's into second place once again, and Conor Garlick will have to now try and fight back straight away, I suspect. Otherwise Garnet might be able to make a bit of a break. Can he attack into the chicane? Surely not from there. Needs to try and focus on getting that exit speed, doesn't he? This is where Garnet's been quick, but he has a moment this time, and that will now give Conor Garlick a run. He's got the inside line down towards the Melbourne hairpin for second place in the race. It ain't over yet. Late on the brakes from both of them, but Conor Garlick surely on the preferred line will fancy his chances of moving through. Yes, he does. There's no grip on the outside this time for Garnet, and he's back down to third.
Tell you what, a great battle between these two for second position. Even though it looks like Carl Garnet is the fastest of the two drivers, Conor Garlick really showing that his superior racecraft is going to be enough to contend with the number 19 in behind, no matter what the pace being put down on circuit there by the 63. Constant checking in the mirrors there there. Is there bump drafting between the two? There's no working together at all in the mind of Carl Garnett there. He's going to try down the inside. Garlick's going to carry the overspeed though, and will go all the way around the outside to maintain his position right now. We dive down the hill and down towards the old hairpin. A little bit out of shape there down the hill. It looks like Carl Garnett wasn't on the optimal racing line. Maybe trying to stay out of the dirty air and actually dropping off the back of Conor Garlick quite a bit there.
Yeah, indeed. A bit of a mistake there, maybe in dirty air down through the old hairpin. So they head up towards Schwantz and McLean's with Garlick back into second. Now, Luke Garlick, I still think can win the GT5 element of this race. He was 4.3 seconds behind Karim Sekat at the start of the lap, and on the previous lap had been 3 seconds faster than him. That included 2 overtakes against Lexi Bell. Oh, into the barriers. That is Balsidou. That's Balsidou, who was second of the AM runners within the GT5s, and the Zentek car heavily into the barriers at the chicane. Now, is that going to bring about an early stoppage, I wonder, because there's only a minute to go. One more lap then after this one would have been remaining. They may choose to throw the checkered flag a lap early. Let's wait and see. Down through the Melbourne hairpin come the top 3 in the GTP class, and Luke Reed with a 3.5 second cushion, missing out on all the fun really, but he won't mind that too much, will he? A nice easy run to the checkered flag is just what the doctor ordered for Luke Reed, who looks likely now to continue his 100% winning record.
Yeah, no issues there for Reed in this race. We come down the home straight. This is going to be the last lap now of the circuit with 33 seconds remaining. There is not long left for these drivers to sort out their position there. Conor Garlick in second, out of the car and completely okay. That's what you love to see walking away from the scene of the incident is Balsidou, and that's great to see for him. But unfortunately, not great to see as he won't be able to take the win in the GT5 AM class.
No, that is now likely to go the way of Pablo Jeke, isn't it then? So Jeke about to claim his first class victory. He's been survival of the fittest in a way, but he's been the quicker of the two actually in this race, I would say. So can't really begrudge him the class victory. Now there's Luke Garlick. Has he caught Karim Sekat yet? Well, nearly. Look, that is Karim up the road. This is for the overall victory in the GT5 class. And Luke Garlick on the previous lap set a lap time that was 2.5 seconds quicker than Sekat, and he now just needs to try and find a way through on the road. Through the Funk DSs they go. They're ahead of the overall leaders on the track as well, which is crucial because it means they'll have another full lap of racing after this one, and the rate at which Luke Garlick is going, I think that Karim Sekat might have a real fight on his hands here.
Yep, so we go round in a big lock-up. That's a big mistake there from Sekat, and he leaves him a lot more vulnerable there to Luke Garlick, who tries to get the switch back. We look back up to the front. This is on the final couple of corners there. As they go down through the hairpin, Carl Garnett is forced out wide. Will he try an absolute move of the century down into the Goddards? He's going to have to be very late on the brakes if he's going to try and do so. He'll try and carry as much speed as possible, but it's not going to be enough. And around the final corner, it's going to be Reed that takes the flag. 100% victory record. That's one to take under your belt.
So Luke Reed wins in GTP from Conor Garlick and Carl Garnett. It's side by side though for the GT5 lead heading out of Redgate, and Luke Garlick has done it after a spin at the old hairpin from the lead. He has bounced back and with less than a lap to go gets back ahead of Karim Sekat for the class lead. Now, can Karim fight back over the final half a lap or so? He's not had the ultimate pace of Luke Garlick, but he does now have the slipstream, and that might give him half a chance to reclaim the position by the flag. Up towards Schwantz, though, it looks to me like the 71 car just starting to pull a little bit of a margin, and Luke Garlick, barring any more dramas on this final lap, Kai, should be able to get the win. But what a story he'll have to tell at the end of this one.
Yeah, Luke Garlick looked like he was out of contention completely after one big mistake, sent the car around after what could have been a very easy victory. He doesn't like to make it easy, though. That's not the fun way of taking it out, and Luke Garlick will have to fight back through the field, looking like he will take the win, though, in the G40 GT5 class as he rounds through the S's. Now, as long as there's no penalties and no errors in the final couple of corners, it's looking pretty secure.
It'll be a 4th class win of the year for the Zentek Motorsport driver. Certainly his toughest win of the season so far, and because Alan Lloyd has been a bit hit and miss this year, he will further extend that points advantage that he's got. Likely still be over Alan Lloyd, though, because Sam Harvey, second in the points, is a non-finisher in this one, is he? Through the final corner then comes Luke Garlick, and well, Connor finishing second within his class, but it's a class win in the GT5s for the 4th time this year for Luke Garlick, and Karim Sekat, 2nd place then overall. That is his best finish of the season. He'd had a 3rd place finish earlier on this year. That was the 3rd race at Alton Park, but but gets P2 this time around. And it's Pablo Jecquier who wins in the AM class. He was the only AM finisher in the end, but he'd led it from start to finish pretty much. And when Balsidu ended up in the barriers at the chicane with a lap and a half to go, that really made it easy for Pablo Jecquier to come home and claim the class victory. And we can breathe for the first time in 20 minutes or so. Another dramatic round of the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship, and it sees another race victory for Luke Reed. Six races completed and 6 races won for the Wolf Motorsport driver. Conor Garlick was second after a race-long ding-dong battle with Carl Garnett, who finishes in third place. Leona Theobald, despite that contact on the opening lap with Colin White, still finishes in 4th, ahead of Sean Fleming, whilst Luke Garlick in 6th overall was your GT5 class winner. Karim Sekat in 2nd place, almost managed to get his first victory of the season, but he'll be quite happy, I'm sure, with a season's best 2nd place. Pablo Jecquier 3rd in the GT5s is the AM winner, ahead of Lexi Belk and then Ella Lloyd, whilst Balsidu, Sam Harvey, Callum Davis and Colin White were all retirements after various issues and incidents throughout the course of what was another eventful race. So Ginetta GT Championship drivers will be back out again for their 3rd and final race of the weekend at the end of the day, so around about 5 o'clock. We've got 3 more Ginetta races to come. Juniors will be back out, as will the Academy drivers, and then, as I said, the GT Championship contenders at the very end of this day of racing at Donington Park. So the damage that's been done to the cars will have to be repaired in relatively short order. Many teams, of course, running cars across all 3 of the Ginetta categories and already have their work cut out to get the other cars prepared for the 3rd and final races later on. So, lots of action crammed in once more to the previous 20 minutes of racing here in the Ginetta GT Championship at Donington Park. Luke Reed versus Carl Garnett was the battle into turn number 1, whilst Callum Davis, one of the fancied race winners in this one, didn't get a great start and was left following Colin White through the first corner. Luke Reed, though, held on to the advantage while Sam Harvey grabbed the early lead in the GT5. Davis fought back against Colin White and McLean's, knocked the ex-short oval racer out wide, and Colin, with his dander up, did not want to allow Leona Theobald through at the next corner. There was contact made at the apex, around went White's secondary contact did more damage, and Colin's race was done. With the car stuck in a dangerous position, the safety car was out after the restart though. Much of the action taking place in the GT5s as Sam Harvey, Luke Garlick and Ella Lloyd all contested the class lead. Sam Harvey then got up the inside of Luke Garlick into the old hairpin. He spun, Luke spun on the exit, and that briefly put Karim Sekat into the lead of the class, although he wasn't quite able to stay there to the flag because Luke Garlick was carving his way back through the order. Lovely moves made against Lexi Belk and Pablo Jecquier to get into 2nd. He then chased down the class leader in the closing stages. Brilliant side-by-side racing throughout the second half of the race between Carl Garnett and Conor Garlick as they contested 2nd within the GTP class. Conor Garlick going for every opportunity to get the better of Garnett, and he would eventually be ahead at the flag by only half a second. It was Luke Reed, though, who came through to claim another race victory. 6 wins from 6 races this season. The Wolf Motorsport driver continues to be on top in the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship.